Good morning, welcome to Shores Prepping. I'm your host Greg. This is the second video of the morning, and I want you to look at this YouTube video if you would please. The title of it is Mass Grave as Russia Leaves Ukraine City Bleeding. 2,000 civilians died in 19 hours of war in Mariupol. As a human being, I am sad for the loss of innocent life. The people that died, the babies born, may not have a chance to enjoy a fruitful and productive life because there's no food, no water, no shelter in these cities that genocide is being committed in. And yet, the people in Ukraine, the men are standing up and saying, you know what? I'm going to turn in my tennis racket, as one ranked tennis player said. I'm turning in my tennis racket and I'm picking up a gun to defend my city, to defend my country. And he said something else that I agree with completely. He said, you know what? To stand here with my gun is one thing, but to actually point it and shoot somebody and take their life is a whole nother matter. And he says, it will stain your life forever. And he says, I'm not sure I can do that. But he says, I will defend my life and my country. And I completely agree with that. I've never been in the military. I've never killed anyone. But I have defended myself. And I know what that's like. I see a lot of people on YouTube wolfing it up and saying, I've got this body armor and I've got my Go Fast helmet and I've got this, I've got this brand new AR with all the, and everything else like that. But it's way, way different when you actually draw and pull down on somebody and say, I'm going to end your life if you do or don't do this, whatever the circumstances are. It's way, way different when you're in a fight. Somebody pulls this out and puts it into your best friend's chest. It's way different. I have a lot of respect for those people in Ukraine. The women saying, let me be a sniper and I will take out the leadership. And they are, and being very effective at it, because I am defending my home and my children, which is a priority. I have so much respect for the Klitschko brothers, who has the world by the balls because they got a lot of money, they have a lot of fame, they were boxing champions. They could have left and said, you know what, I did that. But instead, they are on the front line and taking fire and returning fire. But here in the United States, we see people that are afraid to even pick up a firearm, that are actively working against our constitutional Second Amendment. Here in Ohio, DeWine finally showed a spine and signed a constitutional carry, which means I can walk up and down the street, which I always could anyway, carrying a gun, but now I don't need to have a permit to have it inside my coat or the missus' purse or anything else like that. But people are actively working against that. Does that make me brave and strong? No, it does not. People are saying, I'm going to form militias, I'm going to do this and everything else. How many of you are actually strong enough to defend your community? And are you willing to say, I will fight? It's easy to say, I'm going to stand for Ukraine. It's easy to stand here and say, hold up a sign here in the United States and say, I stand with Ukraine and Ukrainian people. I sympathize with, and then you go about your business in peace, watching YouTube, watching whatever, your streaming channels, and have plenty to eat and everything else. But when the bombs fall here in the United States, in Cleveland, Cincinnati, Columbus, And suddenly the shock of reality is saying, holy crap, a city was just destroyed because we enforced a no-fly zone. And you see thousands of people in mass graves, bodies being put into black bags and dumped into trenches dug by a backhoe, and say, see you later, friend. I've got to flee my city because it's on fire. How many of you are willing to put forth that commitment? The more we become involved in Ukraine, the more unpredictable Putin is. 60% people already believe he will use nuclears. It's a possibility, a very real possibility. So now we have to weigh out what genocide is against Ukrainian citizens versus genocide here in the United States. If a nuke goes off over New York, and upon impact above the sky, 930,000 people on a low yield bomb goes off are killed instantly or die from the flame in the aftermath. How committed are you to say, I want war on our home front because I stand with Ukraine? I'm not saying abandon Ukraine by any means. I'm saying when you make a stance and you make a statement, you better be able to back it up. I'm in rural America. What do you think is going to happen to you when you have to flee your big city because it was a target? And you coming down our street, I don't know you. You are not going to rob me. You will not break into my home. You will not defile my wife. You will not take my things without having a fight. And that's my commitment, and that's my promise. I've already had to defend it once from burglars and thieves. I'll be happy to do it again. Where do you stand on that? Are you prepared to actually put your money where your mouth is at and say, I can defend my home? Or are you one of these 6-shot wonders that went to the range after buying a gun, put 6 rounds or maybe even 25 rounds into a paper target and say, I'm good to go? You better think about that. If you're a prepper or thinking about it, this is part of it. And you better think twice when you start saying, I stand with someone, and then suddenly you have to face what they're facing. How strong are you actually? Thanks for liking and subscribing. I've got work to do. Greg out.